Diane McCullough and her colleagues Suzanne Palmer and Blake Herndon did a deep dive into diverse contributions to the music of the United States of America, with a focus on contributions from individuals of African cultural heritage and Celtic cultural heritage. Today's session shares the results of their research. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the IDEA session for April 13th of 2023. I'm Phyllis Paisley, Executive Director of the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education, and our guest presenters today are Diane McCullough and Suzanne Palmer, who have been working for quite some time together to do a research project that they're going to share with you today, and it is called Fiddlin' Around. So please, Diane and Suzanne, I'd love to have you introduce yourselves and take it away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Diane McCullough. I'm the founder and artistic director, curriculum developer, and grant writer for Scottish Partnership for Arts and Education. And that is the organization for which I did this study. I'm also a retired music teacher from the St. Louis Public Schools. And so with that in mind, I wanted to show you how to use our SPAE website to find all of these materials.
Well, I just want to thank you for having me today, Missouri Alliance for Arts Education. And my name is Suzanne Palmer. I am a 35-year veteran teacher. I guess by now you call it master teacher. I love music and I love children. And I have been a music teacher for everyone from kindergarten to 12th grade in vocal music and instrumental music in my career. This year, I am receiving the Arts and Education Council Teacher of the Year Legacy Award on Monday. Super excited about that. I love children and I write lesson plans for children. So today, with the beautiful Diane, who can't see herself, but she's beautiful, I'll be talking to you about the lesson plans that I've written. And as a matter of fact, what's really funny is I'm in my classroom. My 8th graders just left, and they were begging me to take them to the movie Chevalier that's coming out on April 21st, because we are actually talking about the Chevalier Volant. And I'm excited to be a partner and help out Diane in any way that I can with Scottish Partnership and Arts and Education. So I'm Suzanne Palmer in the Normandy Schools Collaborative. Fine Arts Director here. 2 thumbs up.
I have to say it's been just a blessing to be able to work with Suzanne and also with Blake, who cannot be here today because of spring musical and rehearsals going till 6:30 every night. So he expressed his apologies. All right, we are finally back to the Scottish Partnership for Arts and Education website, which is where you will find you will get access to all of our materials for fiddling around the diverse heritage of USA strings traditions. So here we are. I mentioned what SPAE is a bit earlier, and it will be in the recording, obviously. But all you have to do, this is our cover page. Our website is www.stlspae.org. So we just come down here, and Suzanne and Blake and I presented this at the Missouri Music Educators Association conference in January. And so a PowerPoint was prepared by me to use as I read the whole study, Fiddling Around. So I want to show that to you. It's right here. And because this has all the pictures that are in the actual study as well, so that if you were to use this with students and you wanted to show them the pictures that you were talking about, they would be available that way. But it also includes this page. And this is really an important part of this work. Questions to ask ourselves and the paradigm shift. Assume you can find material. So what are the questions that we need to ask ourselves? What do I mean by classical music? Is that Euro-centered only? What about classical Indian music or Balinese, Senegalese, Ghanaian, or Nigerian? Is jazz America's classical music? Who has been making music in the USA since colonial days? What is the importance of social dance in the development of American music? How have Celtic and West African traditions blended to create an American music? How has the recording industry determined how we think about our music and musical genres? So if you're creating your own curriculum that is going to show more diversity, these are some questions. I'm sure there are many more, but these will certainly get you started. So in the study itself, these are the various sections: colonial times, Celtic and West African strings traditions, musical traditions coming together here, then the rich musical milieu of African-American communities in the 19th century, and the modern era, William Grant Still to the present, links to lesson plans and the creative team. And then we talk about Bologna and West African instruments, and this study, etc. So these are all pictures that you can download and use as well. And then here's a list of historic composers and 20th and 21st century composers. The only one living composer that I could not find any birth date for was Damian Sneed, who will be here in St. Louis at Opera Theater of St. Louis for Treemonisha. So those are, and then the links are also in this particular document. So then getting to the document, that is found just above. There's the title, and hopefully you can read it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And now, all those sections I was talking to you, showing you about, they have links. These are the Scottish guys, Neil Gow, very famous fiddler, and his brother, who was the cellist, playing for a country dance. But each section then refers to links, and this is for the teacher involved mainly, although for high school kids, they could use this document too. So for example, we first talk about Joseph de Bologna, and then links to his music, links on page 18. So we'll go down there. And here are three different links to some of his music. So let's just, some of them, since it's on YouTube, they might have an ad first. So, and then these next two are solo pieces that are really, really wonderful. All right, then the next section in the document talks about West African traditions and the book Fiddlin' in West Africa. And from that book, I found Jules de Camara. This is now both of these examples here show how the West African traditions are coupled with European tradition. And it's just great examples. So here's Julde Camara with Justin Adams. Here is a Celtic harpist and a kora player playing together. I could listen to that all day, actually. Okay, then there's a whole section about carrying the traditions of folk music west from Virginia. And several different people are mentioned. The people mentioned in actual 17th, 18th century are Cy Gilliot and London Briggs. Then the sons of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings are mentioned. Eston and Madison were very famous when they moved to Southern Ohio, were very famous for playing at the dances. They were both violinists. And then there are some really good pictures that are not stereotypical of Black people playing and mixed bands and in mixed settings around Civil War time. And then this Hoedowns, Reels, and Frolics is a really great study of the music of Appalachia through the lens of the British content, the Indigenous American content, and African American content. More pictures of just people playing. The milieu was very rich. These men, Louis Southworth and Jim Perry, both had been enslaved, went west. Louis Southworth to Oregon, and he features in one of Blake Herndon's lesson plans, actually. Jim Perry, Black Cowboy, who was a fiddler, and then two Missouri fiddlers, Bill Driver and Bill Caton. And we've got, it turns out that this reference, Bill Caton, this is Bill Caton's, the link to learning Bill Caton's music is no longer available, but the Bill Driver on the Jake Blount website is really an important one. We have also the Carolina Chocolate Drops and the Ebony Hillbillies and quite a few others. I just want to show you where to find the Jake Blount site, and it comes up. Jake is a young multi-instrumentalist that reflects, European, Indigenous, and African American heritage himself, and reflects that in the music, the folk music he's playing and studying. So this is his website, and as you can see, it's just rich of sources. And here's a whole section with Bill Driver actually playing. So I'll play a bit of this one because this is one of his. And as you can see, it shows you what the name of the tune, the key it's in, the tuning, what dance form it is, and when it was recorded. And it just goes on like that. But there are also, you can find the Carolina Chocolate Drops, the Ebony Hillbillies, all of these different people in recording. Well, we talk about composers from William Grant Still, and I have a large number of examples of his music in the links. But I want to go all the way down to the end, to the lesson plans that Suzanne wrote and that Blake Herndon also wrote. So, and here they are now available, each one. So I'm gonna open up lesson 1, and I'm gonna turn over the conversation to Suzanne.
Well, hello again. I'm Suzanne Palmer, and I'm the Fine Arts Director in the Normandy Schools Collaborative. I'm a 35-year teacher. I've done classroom music from kindergarten to Music Appreciation High School. When Diane approached me for this project, I was learning. And so we always talk about that phrase, a lifelong learner. And this really helped me to really get into what Diane was trying to do with SPAE. An enriching experience, refining American culture, combining music, expanding our perceptions of music. And, I talk about, stereotypes. In my first lesson, if you want to scroll down a little bit, Diane, we talk about, what is the difference between a violin and a fiddle? And we play around with language in the classroom a little bit, some of that turn and talk. And then we really got a chance to listen to the music and talk about the stereotypes that we might have. I want to develop a great educational experience for children. And so as she scrolls down, you can see that I'm kind of old school with my lesson plans, and I touch on a lot of different learning activities in the classroom that really excite the children. One thing, Diane, if you'll scroll down to the pictures, is let's sit in a group and let's listen to whatever music examples you want to come up with. I did Mozart's Eine kleine Nacht music and some other things. And I said, what picture would you choose for this particular piece of music that we're listening to? And I let the children talk in small groups, maybe write down what they thought, maybe create a work sheet for them to check off, who they think is number 1, number 2, number 3. And then let's talk about why you chose those particular ensembles. Going back to when Diane opened up the conversation with classical music, does that mean only European content? Or can we include, other groups of people, other cultures and groups of people, and how they play our traditional violin, because that's what we're really focused on. I called mine Fit as a Fiddle, playing on, some of the past jokes that we make about, is it a fiddle, is it a violin? And the children, giving them an opportunity to talk and discover while I also present. So I encourage you to open up my lesson plans and just expound on the lesson. It's just kind of like a beginning for you, where there are certain things, Missouri standards, that we have to, as teachers, we definitely have to write toward the standards or include them. And so that's why I've written the lesson plans the way that I did, to kind of, because teachers, I know what it's like. I got to turn in a lesson plan Monday, but I had all this stuff to do on the weekend. So that's why I wrote the plans like I did. And I was joking with ladies before you all came on because I taught an eighth grade general classroom music class, and we just started talking about the Chevalier and the movie that's coming out on the 21st. And they were like, please take us to the movie. And it's because of, how you present this material to your students. Is everyone a teacher here in the Zoom? And you understand? And this is a pretty good idea. Let's go to lesson 2. These are good for little kids as well as your beginning string students and your intermediate strings. If you have the time at the end of the school year, because I know we're always preparing for some kind of solo and ensemble, something going on. But if you just need to just talk about your instruments, talk about the strings, talk about the violin, then you can use these lesson plans. I wrote them for 4th to 6th grade, but you can, bring them back down a little bit for 2nd graders. They would love these lessons as well. The second lesson plan, I'm going to pull it up, is something that I really learned from Diane when we were talking about the music and pulling in like Money Musk, a reel, or Soldier's Joy, or Memphis Blues, The Banks of Spey. Letting the children get an example, a musical example. Listening and watching. I personally, because I'm still in the classroom, for this year, I hope to get out of the classroom because my job is getting too big to be both fine arts director and classroom teacher. But I do have YouTube, and I encourage you to get that. So it's a teaching tool for me. I can go from video to video. I can go from lesson to lesson and quickly get what the children actually need to use in the classroom. And these pictures are just some pictures that I chose to show, our past, our history of, not only European music, but American music as it develops, as we collaborate and develop together, refining our music for American culture, and the combination of all the music and the musicians and what they were able to do, that a lot of Black musicians, we don't even really talk about it anymore, but a lot of Black musicians were employed, or I'll just say were employed to be the band on set for all the parties. So I use these pictures in order to give the kids a greater a visual understanding, and as well as an oral understanding of music and violin versus fiddle music. Can I get a thumbs up from everybody with understanding? Great. So this is more of a guideline for you, what I wrote. Lesson 3, I don't quite remember. Let me go back to lesson 3. 1, 2, 3. Was this my dancing one? Let's see.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yes. So kids love to do those reels. And I use the YouTube videos to show the long way. Students of all ages and diverse cultures really enjoy learning and creating these dances, in my experience. What a fun way to engage the children of all ages in learning about dance, meter, English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, fiddle tunes, and I work in an urban district, but the children really, they enjoy learning about different cultures and different ways of creating dance patterns, dancing patterns in a sequence. So we're talking about map skills, with sequencing and patterns, et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, I'm kind of old school, and I don't TikTok as much as the young ones, but I do try to stay abreast of what the children are interested in. And you always want the children to be active in the classroom. And this, when you use it with 2nd grade and 3rd grade, it prepares them for beginning violin, or if you have a Suzuki string program at your school or at your church or where your community center. So please forward my lesson plans, and feel free to email me at spalmer at Normandy sc.org. I'm really easy to find. I'm the Fine Arts Director in the Normandy Schools Collaborative. If you'd like to talk about how I developed these, or if you would like to, expound and then, share with me what you added to a lesson, I would love to have that for my music teachers as well. Are there any questions, or does anybody want to talk to me about anything that I wrote?
Well, I'll just chime in and say I think it's a really valuable resource, and I am so glad to hear you say that we have your permission to share them, because I'm looking forward to just making these opportunities available for teachers who, even if they're not a strings teacher, I see an application for just broadening perspectives and horizons. Did you know? Because sometimes we kind of get locked into the curricular elements that people are more familiar with.
Yeah, I even used Peter and the Wolf, Peter was the whole string family, and it gives the children an opportunity to, I know when we all came up, the listening aspect was just ingrained and almost innate for us. We could sit and listen as a first grader or a second grader. Well, now we're in the visual. Everything has a video. If it doesn't have a video, I can't stay with it for more than 2 minutes. So I did try to put some visual art in there, as well as some work pages, as well as some YouTube videos.
I think this one in lesson 1 is the cartoon.
Seresto offers 8 continuous months of
Hold on,
flea and
video.
tick protection. Learn more
Sorry
at
about the ad,
Seresto.com.
I included some books as resources for the children as well. Is that the cutest thing you've ever seen?
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that that was in there in the very first lesson.
There are all kinds. I did my best to find books and resources. You can do that as well. So you can, read to the children and play music in the background, however you present to your children to keep their attention, and then to make sure their formative assessments, entrance slips and exit slips and things like that, that you can do for your students. Shalonda, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, one of the really cool things I was thinking about this is I am an art teacher, and I could see a collaboration between the music and art teacher with this project, and the fact that I was already writing down notes of like what to start making project plans with, that I would love to share with you in the future once I actually do that, where the kiddos go from learning about seeing themselves in music and then the culture and things like that, having those conversations about the music and how we were represented and how we think we are represented, and then having them create their very own musical cover would be really, really amazing. And then just even collaborating even further with actually having them come up with a song and then making it a whole thing and stuff. So I'm really excited to grow off of what you've created for us to make another lesson from.
And I encourage everyone, I have to go, but I want to encourage all of you, on your afternoon with your feet up, because that's what I do with my husband. We just put our feet up and we hook the computer up to the television, and then we just start clicking and reading. And, the little video clip that Diane just showed you is hilarious, and it's so cute. And, Shalonda, just like Shalonda was saying, you can just be creative if you just take time to go through the materials that Diane has presented today, and anything that I've given you ideas for, just take it and run with it, because the children are just sponges. They need They need this. They need to understand, the European way that we were taught when we were kids, and then, bringing all the other cultures in, the kora and the harp. That's beautiful. I would start my class with that. When they come in, it would just be playing and it would be on the screen, and the children can just come in and their mouths are open and they're like, and it starts your class off calmly. Or if you did a reel from my third lesson plan, if you did a reel and they're just all, then you can turn that on to get them back ready for returning to class. And so there's just always teaching and learning going on.
And I can see this turning into a really cool fundraising kind of thing as well. To where if you get the permissions of showing their expressions and being wild by seeing themselves and hearing their music and hearing this, and then turning that into like, hey, well, let's come and support getting some of these instruments in our actual classrooms for our kiddos can see.
There, one of the resources listed in the study is for musical ancestries. And there's a Scottish musical ancestries and a West African musical ancestries. And in that, you can find indigenous musicians from those areas playing their instruments. It's really fantastic. You can just do deep dives into the material. So those are linked in the actual study. And I just put the Scottish Partnership for Arts and Education website in the chat for you. And at the end of the study, there's a biography for each of us, me, Suzanne, and Blake, which I believe has contact information at the end of in those biographies. And if not, then please contact Phyllis and we'll get all of that out to you.
My email address is in the chat as well, so feel free. And I'm going to say good evening to everyone. Diane, you are a gem to do this. And I hope that we can do it again so that we can just bring more diversity, equity, inclusion into our classroom and into our city and into our world so that we can make this world a better place.
Yes.
Goodbye, everybody.
Save your July.
Bye, Suzanne. We're so
It's already
grateful for your
saved.
contributions.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Suzanne. Blessings. Now, what we haven't shown you yet today, and I'm not sure about the time at the moment. Is it about 10 after?
It's
5?
almost 5:15, so we have about 10 minutes left.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen again then and show you. Hopefully, wait.
While Diane is getting her screen ready, I'd just like to make one comment, and I think that both Shalonda and Melissa could appreciate this. Diane, when she was sharing her presentation at MMEA, Missouri Music Educators Association conference, that is, shared with us that it's digging through 10 different resources to select the pieces that she has assembled within this study. And as practicing educators, you don't have that kind of time to do that kind of deep dive into tons and tons of research. And so it's one of the reasons we're so grateful that Blake and Suzanne and Diane took on this project. And then we're so generous and willing to share it with us. Thank you.
So this is what's showing now is back at that end spot after the synopsis, page 21. And Blake created these 3 Pretzi units. He's a high school orchestra teacher at Rittner High School in St. Louis County. And so he has one on Joseph Bologna. He has one, Fiddlers on the Map, and then he created one about Florence Price. All of these are fantastic, but I do want to show you this one because, oops. Oh no. That has not happened. Oh, goodness.
I will tell you that I found that when I tried to download it into our resources as well, that link was just broken. The other two do work.
Okay. Well, we'll do this one then. I'll try to track down Blake and see if he can fix that. Because they've worked for me until just now. So here is our Prezi, and of course, if you know about Prezis, each of these buttons gives you a wealth of information. You can get closer and closer. So he has biography, discovery, legacy, her story, and then resources. But there's one of the videos in this is a wonderful biography of her. But then his resources, this should be how you can find examples of her works available for purchase. So that's one of the nice things about both the Florence Price Prezi and the Joseph de Bologna. Let's see if this is. And music.
On a chilly Easter Sunday in 1939.
You can just see the way that students would engage with this, Diane. It's brilliant that Blake put this together.
You know, talking about the art project, that would be a beautiful piece to use to have kids do an art project as just, you know, like the symphony, St. Louis Symphony holds a
Picture the music project.
Have you guys heard of synesthesia?
Yes.
Yeah, like having the kids listen and trying to draw with that and see what they feel and hear from it would be really awesome as well.
Agreed, Shalonda.
Yes. So this is the this book has been out for some time, and it's wonderful that it's titled Before There Was Mozart, because he actually influenced Mozart rather than the other way around. This is an interesting picture. This was a duel that he had in London. He lived in London for 3 years, I believe. And the woman that he is dueling is a French person who, when in France, was a male, not a female. But then she moved to London and transitioned. She won this. I think she might be the only person who ever beat him in a duel. So he was friends with Marie Antoinette. Very interesting man. He was a soldier, swordsman, and musician. And this is a trailer for the movie. If you haven't already seen it advertised on television.
Welcome to Paris, Joseph. Monsieur, I fear this will not be a kind place to such a boy.
Boy has talent, but one in particular that is exceptional.
Very well.
I realized the more I excelled, the less I was alone.
Were you always so competitive?
The show-off who spoiled Mozart's concert.
May I play with you, monsieur?
Well, I hope this won't be embarrassing for you. Who the hell is that?
You are quite a remarkable man, Joseph.
I, Marie Antoinette, Queen of France, hereby anoint you Chevalier.
In any other country, a man of your color would not be wearing such fine clothes. One day, the whole world will know me. And of course, the music will be spectacular. Bold.
You don't belong here. You're a party trick. You're a pet, playing the violin, that is all.
You know I am the best.
You are playing a dangerous game, friend.
You forget your place, boy. Break his hands.
This world is painful for us, my son. But there is always the choice to fight.
I'm putting on a concert. Let us fund the revolution.
You cannot afford to make any more enemies.
France is changing. You could be more influential than you know. Leverage it.
If you take to the stage, you will be erased. There will be no new France. You cannot topple what has been ordained by God.
Not everything is about you people.
I want to see it.
Me too.
Like
Uh,
Suzanne's
and-
children at her school. Let me see it.
More resources. So the Prezi that we could not bring up includes a video of a celebration surrounding this gentleman, Louis Southworth. And the people of his town in Oregon decided to build a statue just recently. It was just uncovered the beginning of this year, and the video is about that. So anyway, he was quite a wonderful man, evidently. He became a businessman there and was famous for his playing as well. So Blake was able to find that video of him, and I'm hoping we can resurrect that. I will talk to my webmaster about that. And since we have a little bit of time left, in talking about the milieu of musicians in the Black community in the 1800s and early 1900s, everybody played the violin. In fact, in doing this study, I've learned that American music really is completely dependent on the violin. It was a portable instrument, and it was carried and played by every group of people that were in this country, and has greatly influenced. The piano kind of took over in the early 20th century, but violin, everyone played it. If you had any kind of education, and even if you didn't have an education, you played it. And so including Colonel Charles Young, he was the first Black West Point graduate to be a commander of the Buffalo Soldiers. And that's a whole story in and of itself. His regiment got Yosemite Park ready for visitors, just as an example. But he was a violinist, pianist, and composer. Frederick Douglass, the great journalist and abolitionist, his wife, Anna Murray, was a professional violinist, and she was free in Baltimore when he was in the process of escaping. That's where they met, and she taught him violin, and their grandson became a concert violinist and a professor at Howard University. Paul Laurence Dunbar toured with Joseph Douglas in reciting poetry and playing music. Here's an Atlanta string ensemble, and I don't have information on all the kinds of music they played, but I'm going to guess they played all kinds of music. And then even early jazz groups. This is Jimmy Palau. He was a violinist, and then he became a saxophonist, but he was touring with his band up the Mississippi even before Joe Oliver did that. So we've got all those kinds of information in this study for you to peruse. And Blake and Suzanne are going to continue writing additional lesson plans for this. And we're also, I've been invited to give my Voices Lifted presentation at the Missouri Choral Directors Association conference in July. So it's going to focus on the choral activities, but there's a lot of information about William Grant Still, for example, because he wrote 8 operas. Okay, I'm gonna, here's the list of composers that are available that you could do deep dives about. So are there any questions or more ideas or anything like that? Melissa, did you say where you teach?
I teach at, no, because I came in late. I had piano lessons on Thursday, so I came in late. I teach at Woodland Elementary in Marble Hill, Missouri. If you've seen us on the news, Glen Allen and Grassy, we've just recovered from the tornado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we've missed some school. We just came back into school yesterday and today, but it's a small rural school. We have about pre-K through 12. We have about 890 kids.
Well, thank you for coming on in spite of all of that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure you were going to make it today, Melissa.
Yeah. I wanted to most definitely, and I just feel like this is so great. I love all this information. Of course, I'm retiring this year, but you know, I help with a lot of other younger teachers in our area, so I really like to get resources for them. And we just finished in my 6th grade a whole lesson. We started with country western music and went through rock and roll, and now well, my 4th grade is doing a whole jazz unit, and I love all this kind of stuff and getting more lessons. And when you were talking about or what was the Suzanne, is that her name, that was presenting about doing the reels and different dances, the kids love it. And today when they were like, can you teach us the swing dance? And I was like, not really. I can show them. I have some cadet teachers, and some from SEMO, I guess you say block teachers. And so we kind of showed them, one of the ladies and I showed them some basic steps, but it is so good to get them up. And I do like teaching reels. We did that at the beginning of the year.
Did you have them make up some of their own figures?
I do, and they like it. And then sometimes they even bring in some of their more current dance moves.
Oh, great. Yeah.
You know,
you can do that nicely in the long form. I wanted to get to Shalonda. Shalonda, where do you teach?
So I'm in Columbia, Missouri.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I teach in Columbia. I've been teaching for 10 years. This is going to be my 4th year in this district.
That's great. Well, I hope you'll use any of this material and those links with the actual music to play with your kids and to try to do projects around them. You know, and I don't know if they've been advertising Chevalier in Columbia.
Oh, yes. I did. So I was super excited to see that you had that in there because I had put the link over in the chat to them. Like, if you haven't heard about this one, this is a good one. You haven't heard about this person, here's another good one. So
Yeah.
I love
Well,
these spaces that we can come together and collaborate from all the different spots and like help branch out each other's things even more.
The wonderful thing was that Suzanne found that cartoon video, and Blake, of course, found, and then they both found the trailer for Chevalier.
Yes.
And, you know, I was thrilled to see that. In Suzanne's case, in Normandy, they have a full orchestra program in their middle school.
I'm originally from St. Louis, so yeah. So I'm like, uh-oh,
Okay.
are they trying to call me back that way? Oh,
Well,
man.
it could be, but so she saw this as a way of getting 4th through 6th graders interested in being in the strings program.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of talking about it from that perspective. If you've got a music teacher that would be interested in this in your school.
Oh, I'm sharing it with her today. I was like, dang it, I wish I would have brought her in, but yeah. So I'm going to be sharing all of these resources with her.
Well, I think we are just about at, well, we're exactly an hour from when we started.
Yes.
So thank you, Phyllis, for making this possible.
It is truly my pleasure. I'm so pleased that we could share it in this way, and we'll have the recording to guide us as we move forward and allow others who couldn't be with us in person today to be exposed to the resources that you've gathered, Diane. It's really helpful. Thank you everyone for coming. What my friend Diane is going to be doing July the 20th, it's our next IDEA session. Voices Lifted, 2 Centuries of Black Composers of Opera. It's July the 20th at a new time for us, 2:50 p.m. It is in partnership with the Missouri Choral Directors Association with funding from the Missouri Arts Council to have a simulcast or a simultaneous in-person workshop as well as live stream event. So please consider being a part of that. And of course, we offer other professional learning communities. This one is focused on music education, and we also have one that is all about arts integration. Our next session for them is I have the wrong date, April 24th. There it is. Should be a 2 right there. So please join us for some of our other professional learning opportunities if your schedule allows. And then the website Fiddling Around, we have an MAAE version of that material that I am so excited. So Diane serves on the Missouri Alliance for Arts Education's committee. We call ourselves RIDE, for Racism, Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity. And the IDEA sessions are a project of that committee. And this is her research study that is embedded here that you can also download. And then these are the links to the lesson plans on this page and a little bit of a bio about those folks. So as soon as we get this Fiddlers on the Map corrected, we'll have that link here as well. So just so excited that all of you could be with us today. You guys have a great rest of your day, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.